Welcome to this edition of Class of Heroes, where we interview people who are making a positive impact in the lives of children and adults nationwide through nutrition. My name is Bart Christian, and in this program we will be talking with men and women who share a real passion for child nutrition and a commitment to educating our nation's children on healthy eating habits that they will hopefully carry far beyond the walls of the school cafeteria. These people are true heroes. My guest today is Loretta Zullo, Director of Food Nutrition Services at Mesa Public Schools in Mesa, Arizona, and a past president of the School Nutrition Association of Arizona. Here in Arizona, we just call it SNAAZ. Loretta has more than 25 years of experience in the child nutrition industry and is a leader in the southwestern United States in developing effective, cutting-edge management systems for child nutrition programs. Loretta is committed to offering the highest quality service to her customers utilizing a combination of delivery methods throughout the 75-plus serving sites in the district. Mesa Public Schools is the largest school district in Arizona and has full-service kitchens as well as several central kitchen sites providing meals daily to satellite kitchen locations throughout the community. The district also services several adult feeding sites as well as operating a thriving catering business. Loretta is enthusiastic and a constant advocate that child nutrition programs be considered an integral part of the instruction day as well as a vital component of the overall district education plan. I've heard her say many times to her staff and the state association that a hungry child cannot learn. And in fact, a hungry child can't function at the highest levels needed for learning. I've been blessed to call Loretta a mentor and my friend for more than 15 years, and I am truly honored to be able to share her experience and wisdom with you. Now to our interview with my great friend and a true hero of child nutrition, Loretta Zullo.
Well, hey Loretta, I'm so glad you could join us today, and it's just an honor to talk to you. And I'm looking forward to spending a little bit of time with you today.
Well, me too, Bart. Thanks.
And I got a question, and I've known you for a long time, and one of the questions I don't think I've ever asked you is, how did you get your start in child nutrition, and what keeps you in the industry?
Well, I got into child nutrition right out of college. When I graduated from Arizona State with my degree in dietetics, I applied and was accepted to a dietetic internship with the Food Services Department in Milwaukee, with Milwaukee Public Schools.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, it was the only internship that prepared young dietitians for a career in school food service. It was really rather unique. The director there was a gentleman, and he was actually a registered dietitian. And he was committed to elevating school food service as a profession. And he did employ 7 dietitians on staff. And during my internship, those women were just great mentors. And so I was hooked pretty early on.
Don't you think? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, don't you think child nutrition is like kind of a hidden gem in the world of dietetics and nutrition?
It really is, even after all these years, because my internship was a very long time ago. But, even today when we have our interns come through here on the rotations, they're just amazed to see this as a potential career path. So it still isn't really out there, up front and center for them. So,
well, if people enter in child nutrition, and you've been just all the time I've known you've done such a great job of motivating your staff and keeping everybody on task. And if you could post a sign in every school kitchen in the country, in a few words, what would it say and why would it say that?
Well, I'm going to go with a hungry child can't learn. That's been a mantra here in Mesa for, I'm going to guess, well over 40 years. It was true back, in the very early days of school food service, and I believe it's true now. We honestly believe that school meals support the educational process and help a child be prepared to succeed in the classroom. I know that I can't concentrate when I'm hungry. So I know that that's true, more so even for children.
I know that one of the things I heard you say one time before when we were together, and is that you felt strongly that the nutrition program should be really considered part of the instruction program in a school district. For that very, very reason, not just looked at as food service, but looked at as actually part of the education process.
Well, I do believe that, and I wish it were that way. whether it's the meal program or nutrition education, it just is not integrated to the level that it should be. You know, these are lifestyle choices that we're trying to present to children by having that meal put in front of them every day so they can see what a balanced, nutritious diet looks like. And I wish that was just more recognized by the educators as an integral part of the day.
Now, kind of maybe a tough question, but maybe not, is what are some books or a book in particular that's had the greatest influence on your life? And why is that? And is there something you can share with us from that?
Well, there are two that come to mind. One's kind of on a personal basis, and the other one's more work-oriented. The personal one is The Art of Racing in the Rain, and the author was Garth Stein. And it's a story about human observations from the point of view of a dog. And I'm a huge dog lover, so I truly appreciated the dog. His name was Enzo, and his mantra as he observed his human going through life, and again the human observations of things, is that which you manifest is before you. And I don't know, something about that book, you know how things just kind of are always there in the back of your mind, and they surface every once in a while. So when I was trying to think of a book, that one's the one that came to mind. And then the other one that I've used in my work life is Fish. It's the book about the fish philosophy based on Pike's Fish Market in Seattle. Mm-hmm. And that conveys a simple philosophy of 4 principles that I've used as a guide here in my work for the 17 years that I've been the director here. And if you don't mind, I would like to share those 4.
Sure.
The first one is to choose to make today a great day. Your colleagues, customer, team members, and yourself will be thankful. Find ways to play. We can be serious about our work without being serious about ourselves. Stay focused. Be there when your customers and team members most need you. And lastly, should you feel your energy lapsing, try this surefire remedy. Find someone who needs a helping hand, a word of support, or a good ear, and make their day. So we started with that fish philosophy here a lot, like I said, more than 17 years ago. And it served us well as far, it's just staying kind of grounded and focused as we go through the work that we do.
Yeah, because it's a stressful job, and sometimes it's not as, the accolades are not quite there, but it doesn't make it any less important, does it?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that last point kind of leads to the next question, and that is, when you're feeling down, or maybe you've had a failure, is there what you thought might be an apparent failure? Do you have a favorite one that really sets you up for later success in life?
Well, I think I don't know if failure is the exact word. Poor decisions, maybe. Okay. So I do try to look at. There's always something you can learn when things don't go exactly as planned. And one that came to mind for me was several years ago. I was introduced to a new piece of equipment that was part of recycling styrofoam, and we use a lot of styrofoam trays in our program. And so I thought this new technology was called thermocompaction, was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And it was going to take away all the criticisms that we would get for using styrofoam. So I proceeded to place several machines around the district and taught custodians how to load the machine, and we started melting styrofoam. Well, what I hadn't checked out was the odor that is generated when you melt styrofoam. And then the neighborhood pushback from all of our neighborhood schools. So that, coupled with some performance issues of the equipment, turned out to not be the greatest initiative that I had put in place. So we had to kind of pull back on it and put it on hold. And so we're just waiting for the technology to address the smell of reducing styrofoam into a big plastic block. So hopefully it'll be available soon.
Well, environmentally, that makes perfect sense, but I didn't even think about the smell. That's something that makes,
Smells like something terrible burning.
Yeah. Well, that being said, an investment that didn't really go maybe the way you had planned it to go, what's an investment that you've made, either personally or as from the district level, and maybe money, time, or even energy, that's been really worthwhile for you, that's really paid off?
Well, I believe that the best investment an organization or the leader of an organization can make is in training people. Here in Mesa, we invest all of those things, time, money, and effort, into providing our folks with the knowledge, skills, and tools that they need to do their job. So it's ongoing every month, month after month, year after year. But at the beginning of every school year, we gather all the folks together, and that's 550-plus employees. That's the one time of year we get them all together to share our goals and the mission for our program with everyone, so they all hear one common message. And then they also can see, as they look around this big auditorium, that they're part of a bigger picture, a bigger organization, and a bigger endeavor. And I think it helps them hopefully be a little bit more committed to the part that they play when they return to their individual kitchens and do their jobs every day.
Well, I know that investing in people, you can never go wrong with that. And I have firsthand account of having spent some time with your staff and in the district that your retention rate with your employees is I think, among the best I've seen throughout the industry, the districts I've been blessed to work with. People hanging on and staying with the district. And statistically, I've always heard and always believed that if you invest in your employees, it makes them feel more valuable. And the more valuable they feel, the better job they do. And the better job they do, the more likely that they're going to stay around.
Well, that's what we hope for when we do this with them. And we do have some longevity. You're correct there. Yeah. That's one of my favorite things to do, have people stand up and, how many years of service, and as people sit down, how many are left with 20 or 25 years or more, and it's always quite impressive.
Yeah, it's amazing. You probably got thousands of years of experience in Mesa School District.
Maybe that's what I'll do next, add them all up.
That's right. So what's we all have quirky things we love to do that sometimes people might think are odd, and I don't know, do you have an unusual habit or a silly thing that you just love to do that you like to share? Well,
this will probably totally embarrass my husband, but we love watching Hallmark holiday movies, the Hallmark Channel.
Uh-huh.
So we're already getting into the fall programming, and then Thanksgiving, and then rolling right into Christmas. We'll watch one after the other. It's really kind of, because we don't ever like the same kind of programming ever, but for some reason, most of us just really enjoy those kind of very simple Christmas movies. We do the popcorn and hot chocolate, and always hope that maybe we'll get one cold night, that's cold enough that we can actually start a fire.
I know.
Get one, we feel lucky here in the desert. So anyway, that's kind of something that's out of character for us.
I did not realize that about you, because I love Christmas movies, and my wife and my kids, I drove them crazy because I will literally sing Christmas carols throughout the year. I listen to Christmas music, sporadically throughout the year, and It's a Wonderful Life and Christmas Story and all those are staples in my house during the holidays. I love them.
Right there with you. Yep.
Yeah. That's good. Well, in the last 5 years, is there anything, the industry's changed a lot, and obviously we've all changed and evolved over the course of time, but in the last 5 years, is there a new belief, behavior, or maybe a habit that you've implemented into your life that's really made a big difference?
Well, it's kind of ongoing. It's something I haven't quite mastered just yet, but I'm really trying to make every effort to live in the moment, to be present. It's something that I kind of preach, but, doing it's another thing. And someone shared this with me one time, and I always thought this is an interesting way of looking at things, that as a school food service director, so much of our time is spent either justifying things that happened in the past with audits and reviews, or planning for the future, submitting all of your plans and things for next school year, and even now we're going into the year beyond that. So it's really hard to be in the moment with what's happening today. And so I'm trying to make that conscious effort and begin to look for those little things that cross your path, on any given day. And I believe this is something I've even heard you share in different presentations, and that's practice an attitude of gratitude. Mm-hmm. And it does make a difference, but you need to be really committed to that, because the things kind of take you off course.
Well, it's so hard sometimes to pause and just take a deep breath and experience the moment. And the world's so busy now, and particularly you're in what you do and the industry we're all in. It is it's hectic from 6 o'clock in the morning till we walk out the door at night.
Yeah, and it's never done.
No, it's never.
You may wrap up a day, but the work's never done. So, anyway, that's something I'm working on to be better at, and so things don't pass me by,
Mm-hmm. Well, what advice, kind of segue to that, from that, what advice would you give a smart, driven college student who's thinking about getting into the child nutrition industry?
I think go for it. Absolutely. It's a great career. It's the best job ever. But I would caution, too, that once they're in it, to not get bogged down in the minutia of the day-to-day challenges. That's easy to do. This program's, entrenched in policy and governed by mountains of regulations, and that can certainly become burdensome at times. Mm-hmm. But if you can just stay focused on the students that you serve and the difference that the program makes in their life, then it's just awesome. Everything else is just stuff. Exactly.
Well, is there any advice you would tell them that you've heard given over the years that they should just flat ignore, or maybe some bad recommendations you hear being offered in the industry?
I really don't have anything along that line necessarily. Mm-hmm. I honestly can't think of any bad advice, but one thing that in thinking about that, what makes working in child nutrition rather unique is the willingness of the people across the industry, whether it's the vendor side, industry side, or the operator side of things. It's full of people willing to share their knowledge and experience with each other. And I think that's somewhat unique to this particular industry. There's not really a sense of competitiveness. Wow. That we're all in this together, and we're all here dedicated to the goal of feeding America's kids. And that's a great way to go about networking with colleagues, is knowing that everybody wants to help make other people successful.
Well, you like me, you have a millennial son. Uh-huh. And I find that millennials in particular, but younger people coming out of college, and I think this is not just a generational thing. I think this is from people, just period. But younger people have sometimes a real reluctance to ask for help. And I think that's the advice I give people a lot of times, is take advantage of the wealth of information, because the one thing about this industry, and I found so interesting, and particularly with someone like you, is that, I've never picked up the phone and called you and you not be willing to share and give me advice and share a little bit of the wisdom. I said in the intro that you've been a mentor to me, and I mean that. And I think that's what a lot of people don't take advantage of, is the mentoring opportunities that are available to them if they'll just pick up the phone and call and ask questions.
Well, I think you're so right, because as I think back of the turning points in my career, they're directly linked to a person who had a positive impact. I can almost bring every one of them the actual time that person interacted with me that absolutely made a difference in how I was perceiving whatever I was involved with at the time. So mentors are priceless. They really are. My predecessor, the person that hired me here, was a wonderful mentor, and I've had several along the way. And I agree. I don't know that if young folks these days view that, because a lot of that's communicating. And the whole face-to-face, in-person communication seems to be changing. So I don't know what that's going to look like in the future, but I think it's still equally as important. So I hope they figure it out.
Hard to share your heart in a text.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, as you've gotten busier, and and family and work and whatnot, over the last 5 years, is there any tips you can give us on how to be better at saying no? Because I know that you have to do that from time to time. What kind of approaches do you have that have helped you to say no to things?
Well, the area that I've probably kind of pulled away from the most is serving on committees or focus groups. In a district this size, I know it's always important to have Mesa represented, so I don't want to lose that connection when we are invited to participate in something. But rather than having it be me, I've really worked at trying to delegate it out to my staff and ask different staff members to, based on their strengths and their interests, have them go in my place to serve on these various committees or, participate in organizations or whatever. And it gets them out there and gets them exposure, to a wider scope of the work that we do. And they have so much more to offer, really, at this point. So they can not only grow, but they can also provide valuable input to whatever's being asked. So that's kind of the approach I've taken probably the last 5 years. Just get my people out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, kind of segue off of things for a second and kind of get off script for a minute. You've got what I consider to be one of the finest staffs in the industry. I mean, I work with many districts that have got great people, but few that I would say that have got folks that are in a supervisor level or assistant level that are ready to be directors right now. And you've got several people, I think, that fall into that realm. And I guess my question is, were you methodical in that plan of bringing those people in and building the team that you have, and looking for certain qualities in folks? Because you do have a great team, and you have the opportunity to delegate things to them, and they're going to represent you and the district extremely well in every case.
Yes, and they do. I'm not sure if it's methodical, but I've kind of always had the philosophy that people need to be the right fit. The right people in the right place doing the right job. And so when we interview, based on what our needs are, that's kind of always, how is this person going to mesh with the core group of people they're going to have to interact with and that are going to rely on them for information. And so for the most part, we make good choices. And then, as you know, some of the people on my staff are absolute great mentors as well.
Yeah.
So these new folks that we bring into our group have an opportunity to work and grow and learn from some that have been doing it for a while. So I am really focusing this year on the future of this department and what is it going to need to look like and what should our next new hires be. What traits and skills do they need to bring to take this department for the next 20 years. So be interesting to see.
Well, in the day and with the hustle and bustle that we have, I mean, we all have times we feel overwhelmed and unfocused, and or maybe have lost our focus for a short period of time. And the older I get, the more I find those times coming upon me.
Oh, I know. I do too.
What do you do to get over that?
I pretty much walk away from it. I'm one that, much to some of my folks' dismay, I like to let things simmer a little bit, particularly if we're trying to come up with solutions or new initiatives or something that's going to continue to move us forward, and I feel blocked. I'm not quick to just sign on to the next new thing. So I let it kind of mull around in my mind a little bit. And, you know, I don't have to do that for much more than a day or two. And usually by doing that, not trying to just sit there and figure it out till it's done, if I just step away from it, go do other things, come back to it, I usually am able to come up with whatever the solution or direction is that we need to go.
I just feel like patience sometimes is something that's so overlooked, particularly by the people that are coming in. They want to do it now. They want to get it done now. And I was just doing a meeting not too very long ago on the East Coast, and I was talking to a group, and they asked me what was the secret to peace. And I said, quiet and patience. Sometimes you just have to step away, take a deep breath, and let the silence mull for a bit. And I think that's wise advice from you. Yeah,
again, a lot of people say, why is she not making a decision? But I need to call it simmer or stewing or something. I don't know, but it's just got to kind of come to me, you know.
Right. And very few things require you to act immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah, regardless of what we think, you know. So, well, Loretta, listen, I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you spending time with us. I'm looking forward to getting this out to everyone, and I can't tell you how much our friendship and our relationship has meant over the course of years, because you used the word mentor several times throughout that, and I've known you for quite a while, and I've learned a great deal from not only you, but also from your team, because there's members of your team that are also mentors of mine.
Oh, I know.
I appreciate it very much.
Well, I feel exactly the same, Bart, and I appreciate you inviting me to participate in this. It was very much fun.
Hey, well, God bless. Tell your family I said hey, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening. May God bless you and the many child nutrition professionals who make up the class of heroes, serving our kids from coast to coast, health and wellness, every single day. Congratulations, you have completed the lesson for Class of Heroes. This lesson meets the USDA Professional Standards Code 3210 and the School Nutrition Education Program.